Turn off my camera.
Yeah, sure. Just 2 more schools. I think we're going to be good. Don't have Haiti in range, I see. We'll try them in a minute. We need to try to get Mr. Diaz from 316. In Brooklyn. Maybe we have to try his other network. Okay, we're going to give it one more college try with our school. I can keep trying them as we go along, so we'll get started real soon. Everybody. Dr. Ornelas, are we recording here?
No, I'm going to start right now because I didn't know we were going to start the recording. Let me just pull up the program. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
All right, please, just give me a second before I start recording. Let me pull it up, the app. Okay, there we go.
Hello, Ms. Johnson. How are you? Welcome.
You were calling for what? The Internet of Things?
This is the Internet of Things session.
There, go get another one.
Hold on. George, I can't hear you. What did you say?
I said this is the Internet of Things session. We were going to have our presentation today. Are your students or teachers in range for this?
No, they're at lunch.
Well, you missed the messages then.
I saw your email, and I was like, did you see my email that I sent back to you?
No.
See? I saw your email, and I was like, the Internet of Things. All right. I'm gonna put on, I gotta do a coverage right now.
Okay, well, listen, why don't you keep this on, turn the microphone off, please.
Okay.
And then if you could recruit some students and teachers for this, that would be great. We're recording this, so you don't necessarily need to do that. I was hoping you could all make it, but that's okay. We're recording it so that you can watch it later, because it's important information for next semester's activities, of course. Great. Okay. Welcome, PS33. Dr. Ornelas, thank you. You're recording this, I take it. Okay, good. Your microphone's off. That's fine. Just wave if you are recording. Okay, good. All right, Dr. Paradiso, without further ado, I'm not going to bother introducing you. I gave you already an introduction several times on the through the internet airwaves earlier in the prelude to this. So why don't you start right into your presentation? If you want to say a few words about yourself in the lab, that's fine too.
Sure. Hi, everybody. It's a real pleasure to talk to you guys today. I'm here in Cambridge at MIT, and I'm at the Media Lab, where we tend to look at how people connect to the world in different ways through new technologies. And Internet of Things, I think, is a prime example of that. So I'm going to give you at least a take of a little bit of our work in Internet of Things, more dealing with visualizing information from sensors. So I'll give you a little bit of this talk. It won't be too long, and I'll give you some examples. Well, I got to share my screen. Forgot about that. So that is over here. Share screen. Here it is. So we should be good. Okay. Now I go to the PowerPoint. You all see this, I would imagine.
Yep, it's coming through on my end.
Excellent. So I'm going to talk about a little bit of the work that we do in my group. If you're interested in the things more generally, you can go to our website, and we have lots of information on most of these projects. We have videos. And for those of you who really like to read the detail, we have all of our papers posted. Our students write papers all the time, just like you guys write papers for class. My students have to write papers that we publish so that people know our work, and they write theses and things like that. And it's something that we enjoy doing because it's really a good way to share what we do. But these days we share with videos as well and websites. So you can find everything there. This is the world that we are starting to live in now. Because of advances in the way computers learn, you can now start to use the voice to do lots of things. These ideas are old. So in research, we were doing things like voice commands already back 30, 40 years ago, 20 years ago, certainly 20 years ago. There were devices available that you could use that weren't very good, but at least we could demonstrate a little bit about what it would be like. Excuse me, I have a terrible cold. I'll get through it somehow. But we talk to these devices. They all have names. So we talk to Cortana, we talk to Alexa, we talk to Google. At some point, Google may make a better name, but you can customize that if you want. We talk to Siri, we talk to Jibo, and there are others coming. So everyone is going to make something like this. And this is just an internet platform. It's hooked to the internet. It recognizes its name. When it hears its name, it starts sending data off to the cloud, to these other computers that are further away, to try to understand more about what you say. Just like you understand when I'm talking, these things will start to understand what you say. And a lot of you have played with these. Certainly Siri is on everybody's phone. But these other devices do similar things. But we think of these objects, this whole environment of devices, as another person. And these represent that, right? We call them a name. We talk to them. We give them a command. And they talk back to us. And it's very much what my colleague here at the Media Lab, the professor that started the whole lab, his name is Nicholas Negroponte, called already 20 years ago the digital butler. It's like a servant or somebody who's always there to do what you want to do, always at your shoulder. He wrote a great book a long time ago called Being Digital. And if you read that, you'll see some of these ideas as we were just starting to get them a long time ago. It's kind of a historical document now. But, thinking about this world as another person, like a butler, is what we're doing now. But I don't think it's going to be the main way we interact with it. Because, if you have to say something to somebody, it's already a little bit of effort, depending on what you're doing. I think we're going to see, especially as you guys grow up, you're going to see these smart environments as being an extension of you, right? They're going to be proactive. They're going to sense that you're hot or cold, and they'll adjust the HVAC. They're going to sense what you're doing in your room, so they'll adjust the lighting. I have lots of examples of that. I have no time to show those. But they're going to be very much an extension of self. You'll think of them as part of you, not so much as another person, right? So we're going to get through this phase. So a lot of the work we've done in my group, and it's stuff I've talked to George about before that I think many of you will be interested in that do sensors, is more on the side of perception. So if I have sensors all over the world, all over my environment, they're measuring things that I can't see or hear. How can I bring all that information into my perception? How can I bring the data from all these sensors that are everywhere into my seeing and into my hearing? And in a way, I think it's going to be an important part of Internet of Things, because sensors of all kinds are going to be used for all kinds of applications. It's not just a temperature sensor on a thermostat on a wall is going to control the heating or cooling. Sensors that are doing everything will be used for every application. The phone is kind of an early example of that, but it's going to be everywhere. So we thought about this a lot. And this is the first example that we did, this is our building that I'm in now, actually. It's a beautiful building. It's all glass. You can look through. But what if you could look through with magic eyes and see the sensors, see the sensor information? So we built an environment using a game engine, Unity. Some of you may actually be using that for some projects. It's very easy to work with. And I'm sure you've all played games that have been written in Unity at one point or other. There's some great games that people do in that platform. So we've taken Unity, put in a model of our building, a digital model of our building, and we run animations from the sensor data. So you can see there are flames in the offices. This is the location of the offices. There's a fire here. And if the fire is whitish, it's cool. If it's reddish, it's warm. So we can see the temperature in the offices right away just by looking at this. And if we have a circle around that fire, it means it's not regulating significantly to the temperature. In other words, you set the temperature in your room, these are too hot. They're actually server rooms. And this one, for some reason, is too cold. It's just making that room too cold. And then in the atrium, we put in sensors ourselves to measure the temperature and humidity. And the temperature is the color. They're on wires here in this big enclosed space. So the blue means it's cold. It's cold down on the bottom. Cold air tends to sink. And it's warm up at the top. And if you look at the humidity, it's also humid down there where it's cooler. This is the fog. It's reddish. And it's bluish up here in the corner where it's warmer. So you see the humidity is going. Actually, the HVAC, the heating, air conditioning, big vent is up here. So it's sucking the air out here. It's making it drier. And then we can see people moving around. There are little animations here. This means there are a lot of people gathering, things like that. And you can hear them. So I will show you. I can run a video, but I'll show you a demo. The demo might work. Did a moment ago. My students don't like to keep this demo running, so it's 5 years old, 6 years old. So let's try it. So it's, again, the game. I'm running Unity. And in a minute, it's going to load the game engine. So we will come to the Media Lab. I'm in the Media Lab now, but I just did it from home. You can do it from New York, or you can do it from Haiti, or from Uganda. As long as you have access to the internet, you can run this. And this is the temperature. Not all of the temperatures are reporting now because the network has some difficulty. But it's temperature in the offices here. It's humid today. It's actually a cloudy, hot, humid day in Boston. So it hasn't dried out the atrium very much yet. You can see it's very red, and it's hot. A little colder down the bottom in this case, but it's a warm day. And you can see people moving around. So this means someone's moving over by here. And we have microphones. Let's see if they work. They kind of worked a moment ago. It's quiet. You can hear that hiss. That's the noise from the microphone, also some sound from the air conditioning. But if people start talking or moving around there, you should be able to hear it. There could be some issue with the server, possible. I can go back in time. I can turn the walls on and off, right? So that's the building with the walls, building without the walls. I can go back in time. So let me go back to April 12th. I think this is it. We have data for many years. Actually, let me go back to 2015, April 12th. It's hard to move. We got to fix this slider. It's a little bit sticky. Now the game has to update. It decided to wait for a minute for all the data to load in at this date, the 18th, which is a little bit too late for me. But let's let it adjust. And then I'm going to nudge it back just a little bit more. Here we go. So there's somebody in the building. There are people walking around.
What are those tumbling blocks?
Those are people.
Okay.
So when they walk near our RFID reader, we know that, and we can show it. So there are people that have badges on. They're in the building that day, and if they have their face registered, you can see it. So let me actually try to go back in time a little more. If I can do this, that's the 15th. Let's go back. I did it.
Right there.
12. So I'm going to speed time up, jump back to the reference, and now, so time is going very fast. See, the clock's going like crazy. So you're seeing the whole day come and go. At night, the air conditioning doesn't work, so everything is too cold. It's turned off for energy, and it turns on during the day, so it gets better. And we should see people start to move around if I got the right year, which I think I did. You should see people start to come. I think that it was a day later, so let's let the next day come. There we go. So there are people coming to the building, coming out of meetings, where we have a reader that can read their badge ID. We can see it. So a bunch of people came and went, and they're coming again. Sorry. So you see people coming out of the offices, stuff like that. So it's kind of cool, and it's a lot of fun. And when the audio works, it's really great. It may be working now, just be quiet, or it could be there's a problem. But let me show you the video. It's an old demo, as I mentioned. Here's a very short video. This is pretty much what I showed you in the beginning. There's no audio in the beginning. So that's, it was dry and cool in the atrium. The building was cold. It was probably at night. So that's more or less what we heard. You're going through the atrium. The data pops up when you get close. You can even see people's tweets if you get near their office. So here you can hear people moving around. When you hear them start to talk, it's all spatialized. The microphone's all over. So as you move, it fades the different microphones into the game's audio. But we don't want to snoop. So you can hear this guy talking. He's speaking English. But you cannot understand anything he says. He's laughing. And so you have an idea of what's going on, but you don't snoop. We actually, at the sensor node itself, we scramble the audio. So you get the feeling of presence. It's almost like you're there in a weird way, but you're not allowed to eavesdrop. So we don't want to even get close to that. This is a day going by quickly. The building comes out of setback. There's another view of the building. The atrium dries out. People show up. So we can speed time up. Anyway, the next project we did, that's the last thing I'm going to show you, is going to a cranberry bog in southern Mass. It turns out that that the large companies like Ocean Spray here in the U.S. get a lot of their cranberries from southern Massachusetts and that area. There are a lot of bogs that are built for cranberries. You can see they bulldozed it out, and here's normally where they would grow the cranberry plants. It's 600 acres, but it's not economical to grow cranberries here anymore. The industry has all moved north because of a climate change, and the whole dynamics of the farming have changed. The plants have changed. So they're moving it all north. So these large cranberry bogs are coming out of service. And rather than make this space into a shopping mall, the people that owned it, who are retired faculty members here at the Media Lab, have decided to make it a wetland, restore it to what it was before it was a cranberry bog. It was a natural wetland swamp. And that was very common here in the southeast Massachusetts. And it turns out that swamps are the best natural environment to sequester carbon. You think a jungle is, but a jungle gives the carbon back out again. Swamps tend to keep it. Some of them emit methane, and that's not good because that's a greenhouse gas too. But some of them don't. And the ecologists are trying to understand what the magic is in the swamps that actually really do sequester the carbon effectively. So we're putting a bunch of sensors here in this landscape. We built them ourselves. They measure microclimates, lots of things, soil quality, water quality, things like that.
Joe, you mentioned methane. Do you measure methane output here?
To do that at the levels they need would require a sensor that would be much too big and expensive. So we're not really attacking the ecology problem at all. We're just trying to measure microclimates and look at the soil moisture and the other factors, soil alkalinity, to see how the environment is transforming. To really measure outgassing and ingassing, it's a very expensive sensor that has to be put on. And there are some of them that some of our ecologists are putting there. Or you just put a glass jar over the swamp, you collect the air for a little bit, and then you take it to a lab and analyze it. So a lot of it is done that way.
So you're measuring soil alkalinity or pH?
I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Sorry. But yeah, for us, we're doing this to, again, work with our collaborators. We want to make the readings relevant, but we also want to connect to the human too, different ways. So this is the sensor that we have built. We have 4 regions where we have wireless coverage, and these two regions have no power, so we have to power it off a solar cell, the base station. We have directional Wi-Fi back here where we have a connection to an internet cable. This location here, we actually have power, so we have microphones all over. We're actually working on efficient low power microphones that can stream audio, at least for limited periods of time. Every unit actually has a microphone now. But the high quality audio that we stream is coming from microphones that we've wired, and they're all over there. But again, the sensors measure lots of things. That's the sensor. We have a solar cell that will power it now. So a bit of sunlight, it's good for the day. Updates more or less every 20 seconds. Some sensors for wildlife, like a motion sensor for deer, things like that, larger wildlife. We have a microphone in here too, so we can stream little bits, but we don't really stream the audio. We just look for features that could be indicative of something moving or wind and things like that. We have microclimate sensors like temperature and humidity here. We have light sensors here that analyze the quality of the light, the spectra a little bit that come in on the top, and then we can expand it. So we can plug sensors in and add sensors to it. So these are the soil sensors, getting to what George is talking about. So right now, we measure soil moisture, which is really important for a wetland at different depths. We measure soil conductivity in a lot of these nodes. We can also measure the pH. You just talked about the alkalinity or acidity of the soil. We can plug a soil pH meter into that. I worry a bit about those surviving the winter, but we've had some. We've plugged them in. They'll work fine. We can look at air quality, water quality. Again, air quality not at the level of looking at sequestering carbon, but air quality just looking at basically what's in there. We can look at particulates. Not again a high quality measurement because the high quality sensors are expensive. We can get some idea of what they are. We made little boards to do all of that, and they stick in here. This is like a Swiss Army knife of sensors. It's very easy to add a sensor. We even use telephone company connectors to plug the sensors in. So we can go to the website and see the data. If I go there, so let's try that. Is this Firefox good? So live data will show up on the web. We have cameras everywhere. We have a microphone. So that's what it looks like there from that sensor. That's part of the restored wetland. You can see the temperature cycle. You can see where the sensors and the microphones are. We've got, again, about 30 microphones out there now, including hydrophones, bat detectors. That's another camera, more sensors. Here's another one that's live, essentially. You can run this anywhere in the world and see this. But rather than just show the data on a website or through a graph, you can also show it in the video game. So we can go there, virtually immerse yourself in a virtual swamp. We call it an avatar landscape. It's a swamp that mirrors the topography of the real world. We've measured it. We built a model, so it's kind of like what's there. We have the cameras looking at the greenery, so we can change the rendering every day. Actually, we're about to change the rendering, so it looks like what's there. We can animate the sensor information and even make music out of it from the sensors. So you can see the sensor data in different ways, and you can even hear it. So let me try to go there. It runs pretty well. So anybody can run this. You can download the app on the site. So now we're starting up Unity, and in a second I'll be at the virtual swamp. And here we don't have to worry about Lyme disease or ticks or any of these things. But we can almost be there, right? We will have sound coming in from the mics. We don't have it yet in this location, but it's coming within weeks. And it's making music. The music comes to the sensor. It depends on how hot it is, how humid it is. But I can change that if I hit M. It's another app. So here you can see the sensors updating with a bubble that goes up. You hear a little pluck when the sensor updates. The pitch comes from the temperature. And spatialize it. As we move, we're hearing the different sensors and different speakers. There are animals there too. And my student who did that was inspired by Pokemon Go. The animals are tethered to the sensors. That sensor in the middle probably is what tethers those animals. And we're working on an algorithm where their appearance will depend on the history of the sensor data. So if it's been hot, they'll have shorter fur, been cold, longer fur. The humidity can affect the color of the fur, perhaps. maybe antlers can change with some other data. And if you capture one like you capture a Pokemon, we'll give people a feature to do that. If you look at the animal in its cage, you'll have a connection to that landscape because the animal will change with the sensor data. And I can look at it in different ways. So this is the sensor view. So now it's like night vision. And I'm accentuating this. I can change the music. This is a bit more of an electronic piece. One of our composers at MIT have made. And it's all spatialized. So I'm performing it as I move through. So again, there are different ways of experiencing the landscape. I can look at the data, different ways too. Humidity, light levels, depending on everything. So as you guys grow up, your music may not be just something that you play on a phone or hear on an MP3. It could be coming from a smart city and environment. You might really hear the traffic, hear a situation through the way the music sounds. And we're trying to explore that here. We've actually had several composers work with the framework we've developed for that. So I think that's most of what I have to say. Thanks a lot, everybody. And hope I didn't go too fast. But there's some fun stuff here that I hope school children would enjoy. You guys are growing up in a world, I think, that's got certainly a lot of challenges, but it's got tremendous opportunities. It's a great time to be alive.
Thank you, Professor Paradiso. And I know you have to run and you're not well, so please get better. Again, we'll have questions come your way by email via me from the students. So all the students that are on here today, I hope you're writing down your questions for later when we can get them off to Professor Paradiso. And as you saw there, we have a lot of apps. We have a lot of material on the web, which we're going to integrate into our curricula coming up. And if Professor Paradiso would allow it, that we can maybe utilize some of those apps for our students, to poke around in their learning.
Sure. I think it's great that you guys are trying to do this and work hard, but enjoy it. So
Great.
It's a lot of fun doing this. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Appreciate it. Beautiful. Thank you. Wow.
Okay, next up we have Professor Lee McKnight from Syracuse University. Welcome, Professor McKnight.
Thank you.
Professor McKnight is in the School of Information Studies at Syracuse University and has done work for years in the evolution of the internet. And it's come a long way since Professor McKnight and I met in 1989. This is, pre-internet commercial history. But he's kept with it in rhythm with the changing times and technologies, and has invented some very interesting software and technologies, of which he will explain today a little bit of background about those technologies and how we will utilize some of these technologies, hopefully in our programs in the coming year. So, Professor McKnight, welcome.
Thank you. Are you seeing my slides okay?
You haven't screen shared yet, so give it a try.
Okay, so I thought I had that on. Wait. Hold on.
Send a presentation to be okay.
Just a minute.
Sure.
Dr. Paradiso, on share, Mr. Newman?
I thought it might show that it's being shared, but
Normally, at the bottom also we have the plus sign next to the mic. If you click it, you can also access it there.
hold on.
Sometimes it tends to do that.
I had it on. Let's see. I'm going to end the show
Okay.
and try again.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's not. It's showing it whited out still, so I'm not sure why.
Did that? Maybe it is Professor Paradiso.
He might still be sharing. You might want to let him know, Mr. Newman.
Okay.
I think he's off of it. Yep.
All right. Let me try to reach him.
Okay.
I've got him.
If he ran out and we can't catch him, if he's already in a car or something driving away, I can always drop the call and bring it all back up again without him.
That's probably what we have to do, I guess.
Well, let's just wait a minute. Let me see if he responds. That would be too bad. We have to do what we have to do to carry on the show.
Well, I mean, you also have, George, you can't take the screen either, or can you?
Let me try to share my screen and see if I can do it. Hold on. Are you seeing my screen?
Nope.
You're not seeing a Sun Temple picture?
I'm seeing the Ring's usual image. Oh, actually, now here I am. Okay, yeah, now I'm seeing your screen. Got it.
You got Sun Temple, right?
Right.
Okay, so you can assume control.
Okay, but can I have your slides? My slides. And your,
let me dump my. Stop sharing screen. Okay. Now you should be able to control.
I should be able to access. Okay, let's see if I got it. Okay. Yes, now I can share screen. Got it.
Beautiful. All right.
Great.
Oh.
Okay, thank you.
Yep,
Sorry about that.
Excellent.
From the beginning. So everything good there?
Everything's good. There it is. Internet of
Okay.
Backpack Things.
All right, thanks. So I'm happy to be able to share some thoughts from Syracuse University School of Information Studies, where we've been working on wireless grids, Internet of Things, and cloud services for many years. And we're happy to bring some of them together into the Internet Backpack, which, of course, we've already mentioned is currently being beta tested in the Congo. Is there a translation, or do we just keep going?
Lee, no, there's no French translation this time. So we can roll it in English.
All right. So one of the big issues, however, even with the wonderful capabilities of what Dr. Paradiso was showing, is the security vulnerabilities of many Internet of Things devices. This cartoon makes a joke about it, but it is a very serious problem that if Internet of Things devices and resources and applications are poorly designed, they can be very dangerous and very easy to infect, hack, and take over. So we wouldn't want these pervasive sensor networks and devices that Dr. Paradiso talked about or illustrated the power of to be corrupted and used for evil purposes, whether it's stealing money or for cyber attacks or physical attacks. So an important issue for the Internet of Things is security. We've been working on secure inter-thing communication and resource sharing for many years, as George mentioned, originally through something called the Wireless Grid Innovation Testbed, which has evolved into the Worldwide Innovation Technology and Entrepreneurship Club, or WITEC. But students have done things like observed training exercises of public safety agencies with earlier versions. Before the backpack, we had something called the Intelligent Deployable Augmented Wireless Gateway, which was bigger and smarter than the pack, but bulkier too and less portable. So we were evaluating that already 5 years ago, and have come some way since then to understand how to manage security for everything across the Internet of Things. And we think the way to do that is through Edgeware, which is a new class of software that works across the cloud and edge network devices, whether wired or wireless. So it would be suitable for both the Internet of Things and 5G and beyond networks, very advanced wireless infrastructure that would then enable everyone to coordinate all aspects of their lives and the sensors they wish to interact with. To put this into practice, we have refined what we call the Open Specifications Model, version 0.4, which allows content, services, devices, networks, and cloud or thing resources to all have a secure operation, even if the networks and the devices are insecure or under attack. So we feel that this is very important to follow this model. Going forward, we work with both the large banks and other companies and with government agencies, and have been refining this for years now as a new framework for the future, because if you're not thinking about all the possible vulnerabilities into the Internet of Things, not just from the devices or the networks, but through other code or other applications, then it's sure to be the way that hackers will attack. So pulling this all together with this new cloud or Edgeware platform, Gridstream ER is the application that helps coordinate and manage all resources and all devices and all users and all services of the Internet Backpack. As I mentioned, it's now in beta test, and we're learning a lot from early feedback on how to refine and make it useful to schools and to other groups in the Congo and elsewhere. And we certainly appreciate that feedback. The backpack includes GoTennas, which is shown in the picture on the right, standing up, which permits text and GPS message sharing across a tethered iPhone or smartphone. So 2 smartphones come in the backpack, as well as the GoTennas. In addition, there's a hotspot, satellite hotspot, that can connect from a tethered smartphone up to a satellite to provide internet access from any location worldwide. In addition to the GPS, GoTenna network, mobile network, satellite network, we also have access to the LoRaWAN Things network, which you'll be hearing more about shortly, so there'll be a Things network node included in the pack for tracking purposes. In addition to all of that, hardware, which is of course a very small thing, so fits easily in the pack. There's access to additional cloud or mobile services for healthcare, emergency healthcare from LifeSource. We're looking to have support from CEG, the Congo Entrepreneurship Group, for support and distribution of the packs. And of course, we're working closely with One Planet Education Network on making these useful and usable, and we certainly appreciate that help. Last and far from least, this is all built inside the Microsoft Azure cloud, which provides many layers of privacy and security control and includes access to Skype, as we're using now for this communication. So again, in principle, this will work anywhere. You can work across, I think there's about 6 or 7 different networks that are possible actually to access. So it provides different ways and different formations and then different capabilities depending on your use or circumstance, with great flexibility. And because of the reliance on the cloud for most information storage and for many resources, it doesn't require a lot of hardware on the edge. Everything we're talking about is very lightweight and small, just like small, and fits easily in this backpack with much room to spare for everything else you might need. So we look forward to working with open partners and with all of the students in Africa and elsewhere that may have interest in exploring these capabilities and using it for your education and research.
Thank you, Professor McKnight.
Yeah. And last note is that we're working in the Congo to do this in cooperation also with other groups from industry and government in particular provinces that could become innovation zones where we would hope to have early adoption of the Internet Backpack to bring instant connectivity. And launching something called the Democratic Republic of Congo Internet Forum that would provide a vehicle for sharing further information across groups. We have similar ideas for working with other countries that are on this call and elsewhere, and we certainly welcome the opportunity to contribute to those broader changes here from Syracuse University. And with that, I'll stop because I know that you have another speaker.
Okay, great, Professor. Thank you very much. That was great. I mean, that gives it some sense of what's going on with our background. Thank you again. It gives some sense of what we've done over there recently in visiting the Democratic Republic of the Congo, getting schools connected, whether they're in Uganda or Kenya. We have a couple of folks, even though it's late in the day, our school in Uganda wanted to and did miss some of this and has joined us again, or has been in this call. And even Mr. Masika from Kenya in Bungoma is joining us now. So, and we're taping all of this. So whatever.
Mr. Newman.
Yes.
Are we gonna wait at the end for the questions? We have one or two questions. Or should we just carry on and then we'll ask the question at the end, or what?
I think why not just have some students engage on it now? I think
I have a question for Dr. McKnight, not one of my students.
Go ahead, please ask.
Okay, 1 second. Joseph, come up front. Yeah. That's for Dr. McKnight. Go ahead, speak.
Hello, my name is Mr. Melendez, and my question is, why do you regard as the most interesting use of Internet of Things?
Most interesting. Gee, that's a big question. There's so many possibilities. That's a great question. I think we don't know what is the most interesting use. I think you have to figure it out. It will take some time, so it's up to you to figure that out.
Excellent. Anyone else? You have a question? You have to come and ask the question. Go ahead.
How does the Internet Backpack
How does the Internet Backpack
work?
work? Well, in some ways, to me, it's very simple. You just turn it on and it works. But behind pushing a few buttons, there's code in the cloud, often distant data centers, and there's many different networks and devices that have their own systems and services. So what we have done is tie these different devices and services together with a cloud service.
Excellent. Dr. McKnight.
Yes.
My kids are having a ball because behind you, I have Sesame Street going live there.
There you go. Yeah, I'm actually at MIT, so
Oh, you are? Okay.
You can see MIT is a very serious place because this is what's running on the screen behind me.
Excellent. All right, so we carry on. Thank you for answering those questions.
Okay. All right. Let's bring in our third and final speaker. We can take more questions. And again, write down your questions for Professor Paradiso and Professor McKnight if you have any other questions that you might not have thought of right now. We're welcoming Mr. Lawrence Slats from the Things Network. He's based in Amsterdam, Holland. Some of you might know where that is in Northern Europe. And all the way from Amsterdam, welcome, Mr. Slats.
Thank you for the introduction. Indeed, I'm based in Amsterdam here, so not really sure what time it is at your end, but here it's about almost 6. so my weekend is about to start.
Yeah. Well, we won't hold it up much longer. Once you're finished, you can race off. But we'll
All right, perfect.
questions, Lawrence, from our students. But go ahead. Why don't you explain, and you certainly can explain better than me, the nature of the Things Network and your work there.
Yeah, will do. I think you're seeing my presentation now. I think I will take up like about 10 minutes of your time, explaining what we're doing with the Internet of Things. I'll briefly explain a very novel and promising IoT technology, and in the end I'll give a few pretty nice examples about what kind of things you can do with this kind of technology. So my name is Laurens Klats, and
dah perang dah bet. Apa saja? To go and eat. You may have to go and eat.
It's Justine, if you wouldn't mind just turning off the microphone so we can hear Mr. Slack. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that works better. So let me first show you this graph. Maybe some of you have already seen these kind of visuals where there's an exponential increase in connected devices. And this can be anything. Like it started with your computer, your laptop, your phone, your iPad, for example, that have been connected to the internet. And what we see now more and more is that also other sorts of devices are being connected to the internet. Well, I give a few examples later on, but you can consider like cars, bicycles, motorcycles, bridges, distribution platforms, etc. And actually, a few examples, like if you Google on Internet of Things, you will see these kind of products like smart toothbrush, smart forks, smart whatever it is. Actually, the right left one, the right bottom one is quite a nice one. It's from Budweiser, and you can. It's a smart beacon which you connect to your favorite American football team, and once they score a touchdown, the alarm goes off.
So hopefully you'll be hearing that a lot for you.
So a nice use case, but that's not really the use case that I'm going to talk about now. But at least what you see here is that a lot of these applications. I'm hearing now an echo.
I think on Uganda, if you wouldn't mind turning off your microphone, I think it flipped on again.
Yeah, perfect. So a lot of these applications, they're still using like pretty common technologies that might have become really old, maybe already for these kind of use cases. So like a lot of Wi-Fi is used, 3G, 4G, and Bluetooth. And these technologies, those are very suitable to transfer very big files very fast, and that enables us to listen to Spotify or watch Netflix wherever we are, which is super handy. But if you focus on like small battery-powered devices, then these technologies are not always very suitable due to cost or energy consumption. And for this specific purpose, a new technology was being invented about 2 years ago, and that's called LoRa. And I have one slide about wireless radio technology, so how you can make those kind of devices connected. And that's all the technical things I'll cover for today. So for this technology, you have to consider there are always 3 variables. And these variables are like the range, so like in how much distance what's the maximum distance of a message that can be sent. So if you deal with Wi-Fi, for example, it's maybe up to 100 meters. Bluetooth is even smaller. And if you focus on LoRa, then like this range is very big. It can go up to like 10, 15 kilometers. They have the battery consumption. So if you're using 3G on your phone, you have to charge your phone every day because that requires a lot of energy. If you're using LoRa technology, you can like use basic batteries, and they can last up for 2 or 3 years without having to recharge them in the meanwhile. So it's very battery efficient. And the third variable the bandwidth, and that means that is the size of the number of data you can send. So, like for example, if you want to watch Netflix or listen to Spotify, that requires a lot of data to be sent. But with LoRa, with this technology, you're very limited. And for the guys who have knowledge about this, you're limited to about 50 bytes per message. So that is like 1/3 of a Twitter message that you are allowed to send over these kind of networks. So that's pretty limited, but like later on, it will be more clear what you can kind of do within these constraints. So how it all started, because with the Things Network, started about July 2015 in Amsterdam. And we saw, all right, this technology, this LoRa technology, we considered as very promising, allowing a lot of new applications to be developed. And we set up a mission to build a decentralized, open, and crowdsourced Internet of Things data network, which is owned and operated by its users. So, like the normal way, like networks are being rolled out, like the networks you can connect to with your phone, for example, is that there's one big company, one big telco that rolls out this network for you. It's just very expensive, and then by paying a few euros or dollars a month, you basically are allowed to make use of this. So this is not the model we are using. The model here we are using is that a lot of users, they are collaboratively purchasing these big antennas to create these kind of networks. And because this investment is done together, we can allow this network, or we can keep this network free and open for anyone to be used. So how did it work? Now, we started in Amsterdam. We found those partners that you can see here on my slide. And together we purchased all the antennas required to make the whole city of Amsterdam covered with an open and free Internet of Things network. So what we did, we found, just about 10 strategic places throughout the city. We'll put the antennas on the roof of high buildings and open up this whole connection. And we had the very first use case, because now it might be still a bit technical for some, but this use case explains what you can do with it. So this was the very first use case of our network. It's called Hoosje Bootje, and for the ones that are a bit familiar with Amsterdam, is that we have a lot of water, we have a lot of very small canals, and certainly during autumn, there's a lot of heavy rainfall. And that leads to, we also have a lot of these small boats, and with heavy rainfall, a lot of boats making a lot of water. And if you don't get rid of the water soon enough, then your boat will sink to the bottom. So what we did, we developed a very small water detector sensor that we can put in these boats. And if it starts raining and if the boat is running water, then it simply sends a message to the owner of the boat that says, hey, watch out. Your boat is running water. Do you want us to clean it? And if you respond to this text message saying yes, get rid of the water, then a service comes by and empties the water from the boat yourself. Very first use case. So that was about 1.5 years ago. And then we officially launched our network in Amsterdam. And within a couple of months, or within a couple of weeks, people from all over the world wanted to join in with this initiative, joining forces to roll out this network further, making a very big global free-to-use network. And these are a few images that I collected around that period of time. So the first top image is this, that is from our active user group in Brazil. Left bottom one is in Zurich in Switzerland. That collected a very big trunk of merchandise. Meetup groups started, people started making sweaters, all spreading the story around the Things Network. And this is what our network looks like today. So we are active in over 400 cities worldwide. So a lot of it is centered in Europe, but more and more cities in the UK or in the US are also being covered. Together, like all these over 400 cities in more than 85 countries, and together we connected more than 1,100 gateways. So gateways are the antennas where you can build these kind of networks from. All right, very nice, these kind of networks, but what can you actually do with it? Well, starting out with a news item in the Netherlands from pretty recent, which is a car alarm. A car was being stolen and someone had a smart device in his car in which he was able to track his car. So within no time he found his car back and he found the guy who did it. So this is just tracker software, so you can do all sorts of things with it. You can track animals, you can track expensive materials, you can track wildlife. That's also what it's being used for. And the good thing is that this can be done in a very battery efficient way. So now you create a car or you create a tracker, and like it can last up to multiple years, and that's the big advantage of this technology. Another use case is a smart mouse trap. Very easily, it gives a signal when a mouse is being trapped.
Oh, someone has invented a better mousetrap. As the saying goes.
What's that? Is that the antenna?
There's a thing on it.
Yeah.
Sorry, was there a question already?
Explain what you got here.
Yeah. So let me continue with this first, and I'll take some questions at the end. So this is an iLoya, which is a air quality sensor that's embedded in a 3D printed bird. So you see here, if you look closely to the beak of this bird, you see some kind of sensor, and the tail of this bird, that's the antenna. And the company made like a ton of these things and distributed through a city in the Netherlands, and then it gives real data about the quality of the air in several throughout the day. Another example is it's called Babbler, which is a seal for containers, and it basically measures the climate within containers, but it also does, which is mainly interesting, it checks whether containers are opened during the way. So this helps people avoid that something is stolen out of the container or that something additionally is put into those containers.
I can see that being able to track illegal shipments of ivory, and I'm sure there are other people that are thinking about that. These are applications for our students we'll talk about in a few minutes, but please continue.
Perfect. And a final example I give is Flood Network. That's based in the UK. And also the UK, certainly that area, also have to deal with a lot of heavy rainfall throughout the season. As a result, sometimes the rivers are overflooding. So they created a sensor that you can measure the height above rivers. And a lot of these sensors are deployed, and it gives early warnings when the waters are rising, and people have to be cautious about these kind of floods. So it started within the UK, and it's now spreading out, and more and more groups in India are also showing interest in these kind of projects. So these are just a few examples of use cases you can come up with, and I believe that with your creativity you can think of many more cool applications to build. So to end this presentation, so within a bit less than 2 years, we built a global network and still developing that further, spreading our wings throughout different cities. And what we also aiming at is that all the work that's being done on our network, all the applications that are being built, that are made open source, that are being made open and freely available for others to make use. And this will help people getting familiar with this technology and help create very new and innovative use cases.
Wonderful.
All right, guys.
Really, really nice. And such a credit to you folks for it being able to do this in such a short period of time. It just kind of gives an example for our students and encouraging them. The Dr. Ranellis in New York is very active on Google and what students can do using the technology. And as you can see, things can be spawned relatively quickly and efficiently if you've got a good application. And what we're trying to do with the future of open programs is obviously focus on applications that have meaning in your communities around the world. We're starting out in Africa with sustainable agriculture and forestry, but also the volcano in developing sensors to protect the Goma citizens from volcano gases. You saw the conservation and wildlife tracking software. We're aware of some of these things, but to build them is another story, and to design them, which is what we want to encourage our students to try to do. But there are millions of applications. There's not just, those three. We're going to focus on them for obvious reasons. We have a lot of resources. One of the great things is we're going to have those games from MIT and from Harvey Mudd College. We're going to have curricula that matches those volcano and sustainable agriculture applications. But the partnership that is we're forging with Syracuse University with the backpack, and then the Things Network with LoRaWAN technology, and the community that Lawrence groups are building around the world are going to be so important for our students to follow and learn. So I highly encourage, well, one of the things we're going to do is try to get your technologies out to some of our schools, Lawrence. And that's going to be our goal this summer. Dr. Ranellis and I are going to meet next week and talk about how we expand this across the open networks, both in New York City, at PS91, at 316 and 33 in the Bronx where he is, but also into Africa in our schools there. And Ms. Justine, as I see, is still there. She's not going to dinner early with her students. She's listening in. And I think we have Mr. Diaz at 316, even though his students are missing. We're taping all of this so we can share this afterwards, which I think is really important because there were some missing pieces, what happens with the internet, as we know. But I think it's time that we go around the block here and have the students ask some questions. So why don't, Dr. Ranellis, you start with your students, or PS91, if you guys could, if you have any questions for Mr. Slatz or myself or anybody.
Well, I'll start myself. These guys are just blown away by the details. As you know, we're dealing with upper-level elementary school kids. Thank God, in our case, these guys are used to seeing those sort of schematics and units of study that we covered. So they're quite familiar with a lot of the graphics. But that's very important. But we have to also keep in mind at times, a lot of kids are not used to those modules sort of way of looking at things. So it's a little bit challenging for them. So as you guys were presenting, I had to kind of like bring it down to their level a bit. But I just want to share some ideas with you in regards to where this IoT thing is going. I was speaking with an official that's part of NYC system-wide. And right now, there's this big initiative called Computer Science for All. So what the city's trying to do is they have it by 2025, they want every child in this nation from pre-K on up to be computer literate, practically understand the mechanics, the basics of how a system works, but not just in theory, but more in practice. So you're looking at the whole hackerspace movement, kids involving and getting their hands dirty to work with these system on a chip or system on a board entities like the Raspberry Pi, Arduinos, and all of that stuff. In the lab here, we already using some of this stuff. I have here, let me just pull this one out. We have an Arduino sensor. It's a basic temperature sensor we've used in one of our projects. So I love what you're doing, man. This is amazing. So I can already see how we can map this thing out. You know, we can start off with the schools that we're working with right now, but I can see a way for us to scale this thing up where it become a citywide initiative. So that's something we will discuss as we proceed. So let me ask my guys here. Friends, do you have any questions about this? Yeah, come on. Elijah?
Maybe to like very briefly go into what you said. I got an Arduino here myself as well.
Oh, cool.
And it's more or less the same as you have. The only thing, I don't know how well you can see it, is this little chip.
Yeah.
Only need this chip to connect, for example, the sensor data of your temperature sensor to send it over this kind of LoRa network. So yeah, just add this sensor and you basically can be connected to this kind of LoRa.
So this sensor you got there, I can purchase it. Is there a site I can grab that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll get that information from you afterward.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be great, man. Thank you. Let me let this fella ask a question. This is Prince. Take a seat, man. It's okay. And you feel free. Guys, Prince is asking a question. You can speak up, Prince. Go ahead.
So I have a question that includes that I want to add in my project that I'm doing to save the rhino. So when you was talking about the sensor, can it actually, like, you could use something so it can move around and it could actually detect it, or it doesn't?
Yeah, you can do that. Like there are several ways how you can do that, but actually you can very easily do this with several ways. You can add, for example, a GPS module, like that's also the thing used on your phone to get the location. So you can also very easily add a GPS module to your Arduino, for example. The main question and the main challenge here is how can you make it in such a way that it's very energy efficient. Because if you're tracking animals or if you're tracking rhinos, then like you're not able to charge the battery every other week. So you have to try to design it in such a way that like the battery can last at least 1 or 2 years. And then you have to be very clever with when you're sending that data. An example is, for example, that you only send the data when the animal or when the thing you're trying to track is moving. So then you have to add another sensor, which is like a motion sensor, and it detects whether the thing you're tracking is moving, and only if it's moving, then it's sending GPS coordinates. Because this GPS is consuming quite some energy. Maybe I'm now going into your question very thoroughly already. So yes, you can.
Lawrence, can these guys write you if they need to? Because this fella here, he's working on some serious stuff. We have a 3D printer, so the idea is he's gonna build his own drone from scratch, you know. And then from there, yeah, this guy's solid. So we have a HTC Vive hardware, and he's gonna actually build the drone. He's gonna design it via HTC Vive, and we're gonna print it out, and from there he's gonna use all these different components to build the drone, and then I guess from there he's those issues he's asking you. I guess as we proceed, I would like him to be in touch with you if it's okay with you. He can ask questions as we continue. Is that okay?
Yeah, please do. I'm more than happy to help out. So I added my final slide again. It's not very easily readable, but you can just send me a mail or tag me on Twitter. Like my mail address is lawrence@thethingsnetwork.com.
All right, great. I got that. So we'll be in touch. Excellent. Mr. Newman. Okay, yes, go ahead.
Yes. I'm here.
We are about to break for lunch here because it's the time. So I don't know if anybody else have anything else, but I only have about 2 more minutes, and I have to send the kids to eat. So
that's quite all right. Well, listen, I'm so glad you were able to attend today. I know we have a few other schools on in the edges around. I don't know if PS91 is still with us, but if students have any questions. I'm not sure.
All right.
PS91 with us?
I think we are probably the only one left here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, PS91. Yeah, Ms. Antoine? Do any of your students have any questions? Were they able to hear enough of this today to get some knowledge on the Things Network? Okay. There's our great coder and inventor back there, I see. Come on forward and put on the microphone so we can hear your students.
Lights on. You can come back and use the computer, okay?
Just turn on your microphone, Miss Antoine, and let your student go ahead. It's the icon at the bottom there.
How does your internet backpack? Is your internet backpack used by solar power?
Well, yes, it can have solar power. As a matter of fact, one of the modules we want to put on this for Africa and the uses outdoors, they need to charge those batteries. Those batteries can last 24 hours, but take a while to charge. So solar, if you're walking in the sunlight, would be automatic charging, right? So, yeah, absolutely. Solar is the way to go when we have that module.
How does the backpack help the animals? How does it help the animals?
Backpack help the animals? Well, one of the ways the backpack, of course, can pick up sensor data too. So the backpack will, if we set up a similar network that we just talked about with Dr. Angelis' student, we would be able to track the rhinos or the other animals or in the forest with the backpack. So the backpack is a mobile base station for connectivity to the internet, as well as sensors, which might be on the back of a rhino or in the rhino's horn.
My question is about the mouse trap. Does the mouse have to come to the trap, or the trap leads it to the mouse or something?
No, the trap is not clear yet. So the mouse is the mouse is the trap is not moving. So the mouse is going to the trap, and when it's got trapped, when it's got caught, then like the owner of the mouse trap is being noticed.
So the owner is alerted that the mouse is trapped. So it's time to leave.
Does the smart mouse trap detect the mouse, or does it make a sound when it catches the mouse?
Does it make a sound when it catches the mouse?
Yeah. So does it the cell phone, or how does it work, Lauren?
Sorry, I kind of. Could you say it one more time?
Does the smart mouse trap detect the mouse, or does it make a sound when it catches the mouse?
So does it protect the mouse?
Detect the mouse.
Well, that's an interesting one. So it's really doesn't attract the mouse yet. No. And it doesn't protect it either. So you have to get some kind of cheese, for example, to attract the mouse. And when he is eating the cheese, then being caught.
And it sends a signal to the owner, right?
Last one, George.
Does the smart mouse trap kill the mouse, or catches it?
This mouse trap kills the mouse directly. Yeah. But you also have other mouse traps where the mouse is not killed but only caught. But this one is killing it right away.
So it's a lethal mouse trap, yes. But only for health purposes. Keep us humans safe from diseases.
All right, George, that's it from us.
Okay, great, Ms. Antoine. Thank you very much. PS91, have a great summer.
All right, you too, George.
We'll be back.
All right, come in a minute. Bye, everybody.
Say goodbye, everybody. Yes,
End of the year.
see you very soon.
All
All
right.
right, George, thanks.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks, Lawrence.
Thanks a lot, and have a good weekend.